What's up, everybody? Welcome and happy Thursday. This is our 35th Hangout at Hoops Hobby Hangout. I hope you're all having a great week. Me and Adam are here with you, so you're stuck with us too today. So we're down. I think I'd mentioned in previous or in social media communication or whatever that we're down Steve and Ryan. So hopefully we can hold down the fort. But even better would be if anyone would like to grace us with their presence. So you guys know the drill. We have our QR code up there in the corner next to Adam's beautiful face. And we are going to, so you can scan that at any time. I'm also putting the link to join the stream if you would like to join the stream. And, I'll probably repeat this once we're done with kind of any first sections we've got going on. But that's what we're doing. Today we're talking about 101 cards. So excited, and there was a ton of feedback that we got, a ton of comments, a ton of questions, a ton of thoughts. So and lots of good sharing of cards online that I'm personally excited to go over and touch on. And I think Adam is as well. So what's up, Mark? Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to talking one-on-one cards with you. But before we do that, Adam, you got any thing going on? How's card life treating you, or other life?
I can't complain. I did get a few new pickups. I grabbed a couple of them here since I've last been on. It's been a couple weeks. So
yeah, you were on vacation, right? How was that?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We went to Disney World. My wife's a Disney fanatic, and we left on Thursday night. So it ended up being to where I left on a Thursday and came back on a Friday, to where I just missed, but like 2 weeks exactly, unfortunately. But got a couple things in that time period that kind of fit the basketball theme here. One, I know I've shared a bunch of these.
Yeah, of course.
Over the course of time, but Dominique Wilkins, Soul of the Game. I actually bought that when I was on vacation. Just happened to have a cheaper auction end, so I snagged it.
I hope your wife didn't mind you online while you were in line.
Oh, it was after hours, but yeah, she wouldn't mind either way. Yeah. But Gail Goodrich, Flawless out of 10. Got that one in a trade from, I think he's been on here once, Braxton Cards of B-Tracks.
Oh, nice. That's an awesome patch.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like letter R. This one here.
Oh, beautiful.
I love UD Black.
Your classic UD Black, yeah. Who's that? That's Gallatin and Bobby
Wanzer.
Oh, I'm not familiar with him. Do you have any info on him? I don't know who that is.
I don't have a ton of information, honestly. He's a kind of an obscure Hall of Famer. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. I don't know like a whole rundown on him particularly, but
I've never really seen another card of his, to be honest.
He has a few, and obviously this card here, I have a gold and the silver now, and then he has auto and chronology, and I think a couple in like Panini sets as well. But it's definitely not a common one. That's why I like that one.
Nice.
And I know I don't normally share anything but basketball here, but given the theme, I did get one of one in, so I pulled it out, even though it's not basketball. I'm a Bengals fan. We don't talk about football, but Boomer Esiason, absolute jumbo patch, black 101.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. You know that I've shared my love for absolute memorabilia, at least in the early years. That's what year? That's the 2000s, right? Not even the 10s.
Oh yeah. 05 or 06. I just got it in. I never took it out of the eBay authentication sleeve. It's hard to read.
Nice.
2006.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very cool.
What about you? You pick up anything?
Trying to think. Actually, no, I did not pick up anything. I hadn't mentioned yet, but Tim, friend of the show, Fork Beard Sports Card, he got me in on a fantasy baseball league, his fantasy baseball league this year. And so a lot of my time that I maybe would typically spend buying cards, I now spend obsessing over fantasy baseball, watching games, stuff like that. It's probably bad because it reminds me of why I quit fantasy to begin with, is because I'm obsessive over it, but also it's probably saving me money in the long run, I think. So
100%,
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what the buy-in is, the time away and doing that rather than just searching eBay for things to spend money on. I always like when I find something I get hooked on. It never lasts as long as the cards do. Like the cards are always the back burner thing that comes back up once I'm done with whatever's keeping my interest. But yeah, it's nice for a while to save yourself the time and money.
I know. I'm like trying to pull back a little bit, but I am enjoying it at the moment. It's my first year doing fantasy baseball. It was so overwhelming with all those players and stuff. But Yeah. So
I haven't done it in years, but I don't know, 15 years ago I played and it was fun. But for me, at least, I'm a terrible fantasy player. I've played with Steve before, and I'll be
okay.
into it until my team goes to shit, and then I'm like, well, I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and like find 30 roster trades or roster moves off the waiver wire. I'm just like, well, my team sucks. I'm done. So
Yeah.
I'll care for a while and then fizzle out usually, and that's what happened with baseball. 162 games is a mission.
Yeah. It's every day that you're kind of following up and there's, new players that are popping up and getting called up from the minor. It's a crazy kind of whirlwind in there. Are you the type of player that would trade away your, Luka Doncic for I don't know, for Peyton Pritchard or something once your team starts to suck or what?
No, I just would like I would end up. What usually happens, like especially with like when I played with Steve a couple of years, is I would care a lot. I wouldn't be the person who auto drafts. I'd be there for the draft. I pick my team, all that kind of stuff, and then life gets busy. I miss a week, for example. And then I'm like, well, I just lost this week because I didn't set my roster in time. That sucks. The next week go by, one of my best players isn't playing because he's hurt, and then it's like, well, this week's out too because now Jokic isn't going to play and he's half my team. So then, like after a couple of those instances, it goes from being top of mind, really excited to, well, screw this, I'm done. I've already lost. So
Yeah,
it's highs and lows.
Yeah, it's amazing how it can kind of fall off that way.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun, but I don't know. I wish basketball, like the way we played it was weekly series or whatever, and it's fun, but it's still so many moving parts that it's hard to kind of keep up with. And baseball's even worse with even more games. I quit playing football years ago, and it's the least work I feel like, but it was still just annoying. And then with the guys on here, I started doing basketball, and then even after a few years of that, I got fizzled out.
All right, so you're totally off fantasy because it's just too much of an investment.
I don't know. It feels like it's like a chore to me. Like at first, when I did it for the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 years of doing it, it was so exciting and fun and different. Then after doing it so many times, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather just watch games freely and not care if I have Jordan Poole in this game or if I have Peyton Pritchard playing. Just watch the game for the game rather than rooting for individual player success. Just irk me. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when I have players that are going against my team, like that I root for, right. I'm just like, all right, I want you to get a hit, and then I want the next batter to hit into a double play so that my team can, so
right. It's and like that kind of stuff is just like, I don't know, so against the grain of being a fan. So it's like you want to watch your team let one player do well, but not well enough to win. Like, I don't know, just that kind of stuff makes me less interested. I'd rather just watch the game and be a fan of who I'm a fan of, watch who I want to watch, and not be kind of focused on, well, the so-and-so is on my fantasy team. I need to watch a game I don't care about otherwise.
Yeah, no, I know. It's definitely it's a double-edged, it's a fun sword, but it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah. And I think that for a lot of people, adding value to games they wouldn't normally watch or care about is the purpose of it. And I can appreciate that. That's kind of how I was for the first long period of time of doing it. But after so long, it's like, I'd rather just watch the games I care about, do whatever I want otherwise, and not focus on so many games. Because with baseball, you never have a free night. I mean, it's every day you have something going on that you feel like you're invested in.
Yeah, and it's funny, with baseball, I only ever watched the Guardians, Cleveland, because that's who I root for, and I never had interest in anyone else. But now I know so many more players through fantasy. I'll be interested to see if I ever, like, let's say next season I don't play, if I'll be interested in other teams and other games because I at least know the players, and to some level I'm invested. But
sure,
yeah. But the other thing is I started reaccumulating some cards on Card Hobby that there was a DeMarcus Cousins on there that I had been after, and it's like part of a rainbow and stuff. So I went after it, ended up getting it, and now I'm like, all right, I'm going to start building up my Card Hobby inventory again for eventually, maybe in the August West Coast Card Show when they come back to California to let me do a pickup.
There you go. Yeah, I got a new phone maybe a week or so before I went on vacation, and I never had my Card Hobby re-download, or I guess it was download, but wasn't logged into it in the app. I just logged in today for the first time in quite a while. I still got a few cards sitting on there for quite some time. I need to get in.
Nice. Maybe a good time to then transition to our main chunk of the day, which is, like we said, 101 cards. So first of all, again, welcome Mark and Zacrazy1. Good to have you guys here. Everyone else that's watching, again, I'll just kind of remind you that unless you want to listen to me and Adam talk for the next 50-ish minutes, the link is in both the YouTube and Instagram chat. We'd love for anyone to jump on. to give your thoughts, share your cards, do all that stuff, just kind of hanging out. I mean, obviously, it's a very casual kind of vibe here. You just saw my baby and me hand him off to my wife. So, and then you can also, if you prefer, just scan the QR code and then join from any device. So if you do that, we'd love to hang out for a bit. Adam, unless you have any specific way you want to go with this, I think this was by far the most feedback and engagement that we got in the, like I said, in 8 months. I mean, we've been doing this for 8 months. Kind of crazy. This is by far the most that we've ever had. So I kind of figured we can go through that and go through some of the thoughts, the comments, the questions, and stuff like that. I shared them in our group chat. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it. There are some opinions that were asked of us. We'll go through that and then share some of the cards that people shared on Instagram.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I wanted to start off. There was a lot of general response just in excitement. So Mark, who's here right now, super fun topic. My thoughts on one-on-ones change with the wind. And Mark, if you can give more elaboration on that, that'd be cool. Because I'm interested to see like what you vacillate between in terms of your thoughts on one-on-one cards. Justin, who's been here before, said this is tempting for him. He was ultimately unable to join us today, but again, sounds like he was excited. Tasty Card Sandwich with I think, somewhat tongue-in-cheek response is that one-on-ones play a pretty big role. They're fun. They're neat. He likes them. Yes, indeed. I don't know exactly. And then Hugo Nebrolian PC, just a big ooh. But I guess we'll just leave it at that in terms of generally positive, even if maybe sarcastically positive response. I don't know. To the idea of talking of one-on-ones. I guess I'll start by asking you, are you in the positive to negative spectrum? Where do you land in terms of one-on-ones? Are they like something that excite you when you see them come up? Are they something that maybe annoy you or are so rare? I don't know. Like, where do you fall on them?
I certainly like them. And like this, part of the fun of this topic, I thought, was when it was kind of brought up by Steve, of all people, who isn't even with us. But the topic made me think a little bit about my own collection. And there's times I feel like I guess in my opinion of them, I sound like a hypocrite at some points because I like them a lot, but I don't like them as a broad brush at all times, if that makes sense. There's certain situations where a certain parallel may just look better than the one-on-one, so I don't have any interest in the one-on-one. I want the other version. And the flip side of that, there's times where the one-on-one looks best, so I really want it. But I think the ultimate part of one-on-ones that I came to the conclusion of after thinking about this topic for the last few days was I'm very opportunistic. I'm not going to necessarily hunt down every one-of a person I want, but I'm going to try to buy the ones I really like when I'm given the opportunity to. So I have a number of one-on-ones. I pulled a few out for the topic of this discussion, but I just think for some people, they get so like laser focused on if they don't have the one-on-ones, there's no point. I think that's the negative of them, is people get so preoccupied by, I don't know, I got notifications popping on my computer. I'm trying to get all the notifications go away, but people get so preoccupied with having all the one-on-ones, they don't care about collecting if it's not one-on-ones. I think that's the downside of it, is they become so readily available that it seems like almost you have to buy them in order to be a collector. I think that portion of it is kind of a negative, but I love them when they are, I don't know, unique enough to warrant buying. So there's sometimes you look at them and the 1/1 and the out of 5 and the out of 10, for example, on a patch card, the patch is no better on the 1/1 as it is the out of 5 as it is the out of 10. A lot of times I wouldn't buy that card, pay a premium for it. Now, in pulling out cards for this, I've had situations where I had an out of 10 and a 1/1 sitting side by side, and the patch is hardly any better, and I'm a hypocrite for saying that. So like, I think it really depends. Like, if it hits my eBay page and I see, oh, new listing, 1/1, I like that, it's a reasonable price, I might buy it, even though it may not count as like the rules I would apply to 1/1s, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it kind of reminded me of last week. I don't know if you ended up listening to what we discussed last week.
Not in totality, no.
Yeah, so what Nate Wilt 1/1 on Instagram came on, and kind of like the main topic was how the hyped stuff isn't necessarily always the best stuff, or it doesn't make sense, the discrepancy in popularity and value. And so that kind of made me think of that when you said that, like, you're not going to go after 1/1 just because it's 1/1 if you think that a different parallel looks better, if the patch isn't that much better, or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting because you'll definitely see like a big discrepancy in price, and potentially understandably so. I mean, it's the only one in the world. So, but it kind of made me think of that. And so, yeah, it's an interesting point. And I think that, I'll give my general thoughts, and Raphael's here and put something in the chat that I'll highlight in just a second. But, I think that for me, what I found with one of ones, I think the look has a big piece of it, because there's certain one of ones, and I guess we'll get to that later. There's certain one of one types or parallels or whatever that I feel like don't even look good per se. I think that there's some more common, whether they're still rare, like gold out of 10, or really common, like out of 100 or something, that look better than one of ones. And I kind of had the same mindset as you. Why would I go after it just because that's the only one in the world if I don't necessarily think that it looks good or I don't like the way it looks? But for me, I think it's the big price discrepancy. And this will come up later, but it's, am I going to pay? I mentioned for a logo man before. Like, when we're going to pay, I passed up I was glad when a seller rejected last summer a $1,000 or $1,200 offer I put in on a logo man and a Bibby logo man. And then I was really happy to pick up like a 30 card patch and auto lot of Bibby for a few $100. And I was like, man, I had way more cards. I love them all. And I don't think that the logo man was necessarily warranting that, extensive budget, triple the budget or whatever. So I think the cost to benefit ratio maybe not there for me on a lot of one-on-ones. So we'll get into that probably later. I don't know if that brings up anything in your mind, any of that stuff.
The one thing I was just going to say, and this could go off on a tangent for sure, is I think for so many people, it's not truly collecting. And they're the type of people that want to have 20 cards that are all thousands of dollars, and that's their collection. I know you and I are not that way, and most of the people that we talk to in here, we don't have 20 card collections. We don't have a finite number that we keep our collection down to.
Dude, I can't imagine.
A guy at work today asked me, he's like, "What's the most expensive card you had? Or know you collect?" I'm like, "That's not how I collect. I don't just go after like what's the most expensive thing." That's what such a non-collector, just money-driven person in the hobby looks at, is how much is it? That's not, we hardly ever talk about money here. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, how cool of a card is it? If the one of one is by far the coolest, has a crazy patch. I love the foil. I love the color, whatever it may be, it matches. I'm absolutely with it. Let's spend the extra money, go for it. Just because it's a one of one.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily like inherently make it special to me, especially with the market we're in, where most players, if they're in sets, pretty commonly have numbers, like big numbers of one of ones released every single year. Totally. So like a Kobe one of one autograph, even, there's probably several hundred of them. I mean, it's not truly that rare in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And you mentioned, I think when you were talking the chase, like I must have that one of one, and there's kind of you're kind of not the most positive in thinking about it, of that chase. It kind of made me feel think about rainbows, because I think that there's I don't know if it's a stigma or what, but I don't think that if you had a 20 card rainbow and you had 19 of the 20 cards except the one-on-one, like I don't think it would necessarily be celebrated proportionally to the way it should compared to if you did have the one-on-one. So I just think that, and obviously it's kind of silly, right? It's only one person can have this rainbow. I mean, whatever. It's, again, like you said, kind of a tangent, but just another thing. I just think that there's too much, like you said, emphasis put on I must have the one-on-one. Let's go through some of the comments. I'll just kind of read through them. So Raphael says, one-on-ones keep the chase alive. It helps you look forward to where you were able to acquire it. Been chasing and courting the owner of the one-on-one that he's needed for the past 5 years. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain truth to that. Like, and I'm sure there'll be some comments similar or commenting on that or responding to that. But like when I've searched for one-of-ones before, found them after a year or 2 or 3 of looking, and then got it, like it's a great feeling. I don't know. I know you said you don't really like pursue specific one-of-ones. Has there ever been one where you're like, man, I really want that one-of-one, and you've waited years or months or whatever for it, or had to negotiate forever for it? Sorry, my camera's like freaking out.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely situations similar to that, but I think I've always put myself in a position to never be so hell bent or desperate on having a card that only one person can own that I would like diminish the value of what I have already because I don't have the one of one, if that makes sense. So like I collect Wade. I'm not real familiar with him. He said his name is Raphael, but uh, the the idea that he's trying to court an owner of a one of one for 5 years, I love because it's not him trying to just chase one of ones. If he collects Wade, it's what it sounds like. Wade probably has 100 plus one of ones being released every season. There's tons of them. He's not after all of them. He's after a specific one. So I like that. That's like the collecting aspect of it. You don't just want any of them. You want the ones that really appeal to you. And for whatever reason, that one is just one that's caught his eye and he has to have. I like that. There's definitely been times where I've gone after certain ones, but like I said before, I just try to take the opportunity that arises. And if there's a particular card I really like or a set I really like, setting the save search and taking them when the opportunity arises, but not necessarily always going after something that may be unobtainable forever, if that makes sense. But I also have a collecting range greater than what most people do. Like I kind of buy cheap, more expensive, and tons of players to where if I went after one of ones of every single one and had a list of like I have to have this specific card, I'd drive myself insane.
Yeah, it's definitely different when you're collecting a specific team or player or whatever. It definitely kind of narrows it down for you. He also said that he used to have a various, like a rainbow of sorts of a threads patch, and the 25 to him was more appealing because of the hollow foil design. And I find that a lot. Like
Absolutely.
when there's no hollow foil on the 101, it's kind of it's so disappointing because the hollow foil, I guess, regardless of color, a lot of times just is the most appealing of something is the hollow foil. So
yeah, hollow foil for me is a big reason. Like the platinum foils, things like that. I love the way that looks, even if it isn't necessarily a better patch, but the foil just adds that extra layer. And I think there's other times where, like I was saying, when I was digging through things to pull cards out, there were times where I'd find an out of 10 card with crazy foil. And I thought to myself, there'd be no reason to really need or go after the one of this because the out of 10 or the out of 15, 20, whatever it is, looks so good.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like, it's so weird to go against that intuitive thing that like the hobby as a whole is telling you, which is that you must have the 101, or that if that comes up, that's the rarer it is, the more appealing it is, or whatever. But yeah, I think it's like we talked about last week. It's the emphasis really. I mean, I guess it's everyone's opinion. Rarity or design or appeal or photographs, like I guess it's a personal thing, and I think aesthetics isn't necessarily enough of an emphasis when it comes to one-of-ones a lot of the time. Mark says he loves having a one-of-one of a PC player, but it has to be a good-looking card. Yeah, he totally agrees. If one I want is being held hostage by a dealer marking it up super high, it sours you on the card. Yeah, totally. I think that's really true. It's like sometimes you're just sick of dealing with the person, so you don't even care about the card anymore. I don't know that I've experienced that with a one-on-one, but that would be really frustrating.
I think that's part of why, like, when you were asking if I've ever gone after a one-of-one in the sense of like just hounding a person to get it, like this definitely happened in the past, but there's time. I feel like most of the time in that situation, you just become so desperate that they're going to bend you over a barrel if they ever do sell it to you. And obviously, I've paid over on cards that I wanted to get from a person that has it. That's fine, but like at some point, the one-of-one craze has made it to where people feel like a card out of 10 worth $50, the one-of-one's worth 5,000 or something crazy. You know what I mean? Like there's not that big of a difference in my opinion. If they're both great looking cards, I'm content. And again, to save ourselves from a tangent, I'll keep it short. But I do think also the hobby with having so many parallels that come out in rare ones, we kind of take for granted that out of 5 or out of 10 or out of 25 even is still a pretty rare card. Like I remember back in the day being on the Beckett forums, and like cards numbered to 25 or less didn't even have book values when book value was like the big thing everybody went off of. So like out of 25 or less is like what everybody collects anymore almost. Yeah. And it's not considered rare because it's not the one-of-one. It's like there's still only 25 of them in the world.
Right.
Like, if any other thing, if you had a card that was 25 in the world or some other form of collectible, it would be unbelievably scarce. But because cards have such a wide array of options, out of 25 is just like, oh, it's just a regular card. I think we take for granted kind of the rarity as well.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, you know, like you said, way back when there was 1 out of 25 for a set or something, it was worth hundreds or thousands. I mean, whatever. Now like I feel like sometimes I get some PC cards out of 25 for $1 or $2, right?
Absolutely.
And people would say it's because it's like that junk parallel and, it's just over parallelization, all that stuff. You could argue that. You can argue what you just said too, which is there's only 25 of them in the world. This is not a very abundant card, and I get to have it for only $1 or $2. Like, this makes it so collectible. So yeah, it's
Well, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to whether it's appealing. Because like there's all these variations in between Prism and Tops and all these sets that every version has a million parallels. And you probably saw the same thing I did, where there's more 2025 or 2026, where this year of cards is Superfractors released in basketball than every other year of licensed basketball prior. From 04 to 04 to 09, all the Superfractors combined was less than this 1 year of Superfractors. So
Dang.
Are they really that rare? If 1 year is creating more than the entire run of 04 to 09 Superfractors?
Yeah, I'm talking about hype. Yeah, I'm talking about hype. There's so many of them, but because they're Superfractors, you never find one for less than hundreds. And if it's a really big player, widely collected player, it's thousands, right?
Right. And that all trickles downhill to where out of 25 probably has, for a lot of these guys, I'm sure Cooper Flag has 1,000 cards numbered to 25. They're not all that special. But if you have a set that you really like or something, and it's a card that you actually are cherishing or going after, out of 25 is pretty rare. I mean, I know this is basketball, but Ken Anderson for the Bengals was probably the biggest individual player I've ever collected. I have almost everything. There's not a 25 autograph from like 02 Prestige I chased for like 15 years.
Oh, dang.
It's not a one-on-one. It's out of 25. And it wasn't I didn't pay what it took to buy one. There was never one available for like 15 years. So it's just like the difference of times, too, of the idea now out of 25 is just so common. You go back to the earlier 2000s days where out of 25 was rare. And we just kind of gotten manipulated by the hype of how many one-on-ones come out and how many sets there are and things like that, I think.
Yeah, actually, that goes to what someone, Raphael, said in the chat. The out of 25s in upper deck terms, so those mid 2000s, he says, are super rare. And because of how many out of 25s there are now, I almost feel like they get overlooked. I mean, just a few weeks ago on eBay, I got Duncan, I think it was 0102, maybe 0203, Ultimate, UD Ultimate out of 25. Got it for $10. I was like, how am I getting a Tim Duncan? Early 2000s UD out of 25 from Ultimate, which is a high-end set.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
And then that's a perfect example of everything's gone up in value, but that kind of stuff's drifted off in the kind of the wayside. I guarantee that card was worth more than $10 when it came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody would have cherished that more than they do today because there just wasn't as many cool cards then.
And I guarantee you, because it's worth $10 now, nobody cares about it, right? Like it doesn't get the hype. Nobody cares. I guess today, I don't go on like Instagram very often anymore. Honestly, I don't know why, but maybe it's fantasy baseball. But but I feel like I went on today. I know it's a blessing in disguise. But I went on today and there was like tons of cards that people were saying got sold for millions of dollars in this today and yesterday and whatever. It's like, that's what people care about. And it boggles my mind because those are not cards that are even, I don't know why they're worth that much. To me, they're not worth that much. Like silly to me to pay that much, but
sure.
I don't know how people are so enthralled with that. Like those are not cards any of us are going to have.
And that's one of those things too. If you started manipulating the market and buying all of that ultimate set number to 25 cards and just listed them all for $1,000 on eBay, eventually people would start seeing them and probably thinking they're more than they are just because of that. You know what I mean? People are so fickle in the sense that they have no opinion for themselves. If everybody else thinks it's cool, I do too. And they're all ready to buy it. So it's just that there's so many silly aspects to it. We all look at it and say, hell yeah, you got an awesome card for $10, number 25.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, oh, it's only a $10 card.
That's a great point. I saw in the comments section of some posts about Kevin O'Leary being offered whatever for the Kobe Jordan, the dual logo man. Some millions of dollars. Somebody said business is all about creating hype, and that's totally the hobby, right? It's like all about creating hype. Nice, Darren. Congrats. Darren said he snagged an 0304 Dr. J with a print run of 100 for only $7. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's like an out of 5 in today's standards.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, out of 100 from 0304 and prior. I mean, things got crazy, I think, in 0405 when they started making more parallels, but
sure.
Yeah, it's
but even still, like the craziness of that is nothing. A singular set today. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing.
Yeah, relatively speaking, exactly. Nice. Well, yeah, congrats, Darren. A couple other things. Oh, I think it's a crazy one also mentioned being a player collector of base type players. So I'm assuming that means like not super high end players. He used to try and chase 101s, but too many sellers asking way too much, like 800 for $150 card or less. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think nowadays with the explosion of just like cards in media and whatever, and people seeing cards and how much they sell for, I think people are just willing to pay more for cards. So like a one of one, any one of one, you can probably hold hostage long enough, and somebody that collects that player or team or whatever will pay 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever dollars for it. So yeah, it's definitely.
That was one thing I was going to say is, I mean this like as nicely as I can, but in terms of buying and selling, in my opinion, people who are player collectors are often far cheaper than in most people because they see it as the whole rather than just the singular card. And I'm at fault for this too at times where I go after players I know really well. I buy a day in and day out, and I know what their cards sell for. And then somebody posts a one of one for way too much money, and I say you're crazy. Then somebody who only collects one of ones or only collects something that fits the niche of more than just me being the collector of that player pays way more than I say it's worth 150, but then somebody pays 500, and then I look like I'm an idiot. Like, well, clearly, all it takes is one person on that card to say it's worth 500, and they're right. I mean, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm not saying you should pay overly more than what you think it's worth, but those cards just become so easy to kind of, I don't know, find a singular buyer on. Like you said, you put it up long enough and you'll find someone. It may not be their big player collector, and that sucks because I like to see a player collector get the cards, but when they're willing to pay 150 and some random dude who just thinks the one of one's cool pays 500, capitalism says you should sell it to the guy who paid you 2.5, 3, whatever, 3.5 times the money.
Totally. And but the beauty of being a player collector or a team collector is you can say, you know what, I have thousands of other options right now. I don't need to pay 500 for that. I'll get a one-on-one of a different player or from Absolutely. A different set. So yeah, so it's great. Darren makes a comment about you subtly commenting on the way Nat pushed up the interest for PMGs.
Oh.
You look do you understand what he's referencing?
No. When I first read it, I was confused. I thought it said not pushing up the interest, and I realized it says Nat pushing up. Okay. That makes more sense. I was like, not pushing interested for PMGs. But yes, that's a perfect example. Yeah. You have enough hype train behind you, and you catalog everything and make it a notoriety thing to where, hey, I did this. People are going to follow. People are sheep. I don't care for anyone's opinion but my own when it comes to anything. Especially collecting. I've been doing it for 20 years. If I like it, I like it. If you hate it, okay, buy your thing, I'll buy mine. But so many people aren't that way. They want to get 500 likes on their cool card they spent too much money on.
And it's super dangerous now because, of course, as with everything in social media, the hobby has the people that have a lot of following. So it's just you got to tread carefully because I don't have any like opinions. I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone, and I'm not going to name anyone, but it's like there are people with tens of thousands of followers who collect basketball cards. They have so much power in influence, and so it's just, I don't know. Yeah, and so the crazy one follows up on that and says nobody cared about red PMGs back in 99, 2000. He bought a couple for $5 each back at the time. Nice.
Well, and it's funny too because you see both sides of it. Because like for me, if I'm really into a card, I'm more likely not to share it at all in hopes that nobody else thinks it's cool to where I could buy more of them or more of the set or whatever. Whereas other people who do the opposite, they're like, I bought 5 of them. Now it's time for everybody else to jump on board. So I look like a genius. I think I'm an idiot in silence and just let me continue to do my thing. I don't care if it goes up $1 or $1 million. I want to do it for fun. And the $1 million would only tempt me to get rid of it. So I don't want to do that.
I know. So it's social media, forums, all that stuff. It's changed the landscape of things. I guess we can leave it at that. Let's get into some specific questions and opinions and stuff like that. The Nash Collector on Instagram says, what are the most overrated one of ones and why are they supers? So I don't know if you agree with them. What do you think are the most overrated type of one of ones?
I looked at this question and I don't necessarily disagree that supers are overrated. I like them. but the hype behind them is insane.
Mhm.
But to me, I think we've touched on it like a dead horse at this point. The overrated ones to me aren't individual cards; they're just ones that aren't appealing but are valuable because they're one of ones. So I think it's kind of a cop out answer and something we've already addressed. But there's so many cards you see come out that sell for six figures that are absolute trash looking, but it's worth something because it's a one of one. It's Cooper Flag. It's a PSA 10. It's whatever. And like
Right.
that's the appeal. But you see so many cards, and I even have one that I pulled out for myself. I'll see if I can find it here quickly in the
A superfractor?
no. Well, I do have a
Oh.
superfractor put out, but that wasn't what I was trying to find. Of course, it's like the bottom card in the stack. But I bought this card because it was cheap, and like this is a card I would normally not buy. Black
Oh,
select
nice.
one of one, but it's a sticker auto. Like I wouldn't buy
Right.
this card if it was out at 25 or 50 or something because it's a sticker. I wouldn't really go out of my way for it, but even I got caught up in the hype of, oh, it's a one of one and it was cheap and I bought it. It's not like the black looks nice. I like black refractors, but
Yeah.
a sticker auto is not something that you need to buy for Sam Jones. He has enough available on card where you don't ever need to buy that. But even I bought into the hype of it being a one of one.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you say that, but I think there's something to the fact that it's the only one. I mean, in the world, the one of one, the rarity. I don't want to say matters. I hate the word matters when it comes to cards because nothing matters. We're collecting pieces of cardboard, but
Sure.
like the fact that it's the only one in the world is appealing because that means that if you want it, you have to get it pretty much when you see it. If it's
Like I
affordable
guess
and
for
whatever.
me, like you look at some sets and the like say older top sets, you might find a black that's numbered to 99 refractor.
Right.
That card looks really good, and I would buy it because I like the way it looks. That
Yeah.
card in particular, the sticker auto, if it was numbered to 99, would never be in my collection.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
I only bought it because it's a one of one and it's
Right.
rare. Like so,
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. Like
It's
I
a
think
fair
it's not
point.
a bad looking card, but it's not like he has no on card autographs that you could go and pursue. I'd rather
Right.
have like I have in the midst of finding that I have like a flawless out of 5. That card looks
Well,
100 times better to me.
yeah. You have nothing to be ashamed of. I think it's okay. Give yourself some grace, you know?
Appreciate it.
So I'm trying to think. I mean, everyone who's here, throw in the chat what you think are the most overrated one of ones. I think supers are definitely up there. It's hard to say because everything is personal preference. I mean, personally, gosh, I'm gonna probably make so many enemies. Personally, I think it has to be black 101s, like the blacks or the or logo men. Like I think it's got to be one of those three: supers, blacks, or logo men for me. I'll throw one of the other ones because supers were already mentioned, but I just think like black doesn't look as good, right? Like we've talked about it with flawless before. Remember that year? Was it 2014 when it was the flawless black 101s? That doesn't look as good as the base, which or the out of the golds or whatever. Like the colors just to me look better. A black prism doesn't look as good as even a blue or those green prisms that are unnumbered, probably millions of them in the world. There you go.
These are ones again that the rarity is the only reason they're special.
Right. And I think I'm sure you have tons of nice like I'm sure you probably have the base versions of those or the holofoil versions of those or whatever.
Yeah, I think I have the rainbow, both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, black is just not the most aesthetically pleasing. And
like that looks way better.
Way better. That's what is that out of? That's out of 10, the gold?
That one's even the base version that year out of 15 looks way better.
Yeah, so that's a Parrish dual patch from 14 flawless. Yeah, 14, 15. So again, so that's just my opinion. Darren says that UD was guilty towards the end of base parallel 1-1s that only differed by the one of one stamp. Oh, that's interesting. I did not realize that. And unfortunately, he says unfortunately he got a hold of several chasing Brewer. Yeah, so that's a fair point. That would I think I don't think I would be able to just pay what it would cost to get a 1-1 if the only difference was the stamp that says 1 of 1 on it. That's how I kind of feel about the Ops first printed stamp. They have that in like 25, 26.
Yeah.
1 of 1 first printed. Dude, that means nothing, right? Who cares that it was the first one with ink on it? It's all the same as all the other cards. I don't know. And
I would agree.
oh, good.
No, so I agree with what you're saying. There has to be more to it than just that, I think. And like I said before, I become a hypocrite because I'm pulling out cards that I'm talking shit about. The
Oh,
Dave
I have
Cowens
black
Black
one.
One of One. It's a one of one, and that's the reason I bought it. Finished that run of those, but at the same time, it's not an appealing card in comparison to some other versions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hypocrite too. I have a black Halliburton 101. I just got it because I'm going after the rainbow. But
Yeah.
man, this card doesn't have that great of a shine nearly at all. And that card, to me, is not as pretty, is not as aesthetically pleasing as any of the colored parallels. So, as a crazy one says, platinum was a good change for flawless from the black. And he says, although he does not have a one of one. I think you're probably right. Okay, so that was some thoughts. Another question, Wildcat Collector says, if you had to choose, would you prefer one high-end one of one for your PC or multiple high-end, higher-end non-one of ones? So I don't know if this means, like, would you prefer a one of one from a high-end product but not super high-end product versus multiple say like out of 10s or out of 5, out of 10, out of 25 from a higher end product, say like flawless versus immaculate? I don't know if that's what we're talking about, or just in general, you want one high end that's going to cost the same as multiple, also other high end cards that are really nice, but which
I think he means the latter. Like, you want a one of one immaculate patch auto, or do you want 6 numbered to 10 patch autos?
Okay. So
Like,
where do you think?
I think I go on both sides. It's again another cop out answer, but it comes down, I think, to the rarity for me. Like, is it a player that's getting an out of 10 patch auto in every set, and the one of one is something special? It has a crazy patch, or I just love the design, the foil, whatever it may be. I can lean that direction. Then on the flip side, if it's a person who has hardly anything, and so the 5 or 6 cards might be all top 10 cards the player even has issued, versus the number 1 card the player has issued, I might lean towards having a plethora of really awesome cards that are like impossible to find and not readily available on the market. So like, I think it just goes both directions. Like, obviously in a perfect world, you want quantity of the high end one of ones, but that just isn't usually
Right.
ability. Like, something everybody has the ability to do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think my answer is pretty clear from what I've said, even in the last few, several minutes.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm thinking, or like, do you know
Multiple
what I'm
higher
talking
end non one of ones.
Yeah, multiple higher end non one of ones. Like, why? Let's say I have $1,000, and why would I pay $1,000 for a single card that's really nice? And I'm going to assume, like you said, it's beautiful, it looks good, great patch, on card auto, whatever type of one on one you want. Why would I pay $1,000 for that card versus $1,000 for 5 or 10 or 15 cards that are incredible? Just the same, like you said, 6 out of 10 from different products, more variation, or maybe I have 6 cards out of 10. I have 6 of the 10 from that run and I get different patches with it, whatever. I mean, to me, and I don't hoard, so that's not the way I collect, but for me, it's just, I've always felt people say quality over quantity. And I never understood why people speak of them as as if they're mutually exclusive. I can have a quantity of quality cards,
Absolutely.
and so that's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think everything is so situational. Where, like,
For sure.
If you have the opportunity to buy the one of one high end card and there isn't any multiple options of higher end non one of ones, it's a different scenario than a player that just is readily available and pick your poison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Darren says he's okay with the first printed on the tops. At least it provides something unique. Yeah. And that's what's cool. I mean, anytime that something new comes out, even if one person or a collector doesn't like it, at least it provides more options. Like you mentioned, like the plethora of options is what's great about collecting now. So I think that's a great point. The next question, rank your favorite one of ones by aesthetics: Superfractor, black, purple masterpiece, and platinum. I guess I kind of showed my hand with that a little bit, but this one took me a while to think about. Do you have, I don't know if you thought about it beforehand, or if you need some time to think about it, or if you have a ranking.
Yeah, I read the question, and when you sent them over, for me, I feel like most cards that I collect don't follow any of those kind of. I don't know if he when he says platinum, if he means like platinum foil, like something from Flawless.
I
Like a purple
imagine.
masterpiece is something I've never had in my collection, and I probably never will. It doesn't do much for me. I like black refractors, but I like them because I think they look good in the 2000s, and they aren't one of ones. They don't
Mm.
garner a crazy premium. That's why I hate some of the newer ones, because I like the way black looks, but I hate the fact that they're now one of ones in a lot of sets. So like I wouldn't want to spend that premium. Super refractors are cool, they're iconic, but again, the price associated to them is crazy. So I
That's
guess if
aesthetic.
he's
How they look.
just this. Oh, sorry, I missed that part. I guess just the aesthetics of them. I would say, assuming he means platinum foil,
Yeah.
I would
I
I would say platinum foil is number one because I just love foil. Then I would probably say super refractor black purple masterpiece.
All right. Yeah, for me, I think that the part that's hard is that even within each category, it varies from
For
set
sure,
to set. Right? Like a platinum foil on one of one is different than platinum on another one of one.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so generally, if you're talking general, I think for me it's platinum as well at the top, superfractor, then purple masterpiece and black. That's probably how I would go. And I will say that's one of the things I love is non one of ones that have the platinum foil. So I think
Yeah.
when cards like you showed, I think with the Flawless in that 2014 year that had platinum foil but weren't one of ones, that is the sweet spot because it has the aesthetic and it's not going to have the price as the platinum one of ones, but that's the beauty of it because it's not a one of one. You can get it affordably. Darren says someone hint. I don't know what that. Someone hint special about that purple. Oh, something hits special about that purple foil. Have you ever, Adam, seen a purple masterpiece? I've never even seen one in person.
I have seen them, and I don't know. For me, a lot of times those cards are so similar to the base card. The foil is the only differentiator, and it's not like it's the entirety of the card. It's just like the writing on the card that
Right.
it takes away from me the appeal. Like I have like even legacy cards that are like numbered to 99 or 100 from that same era. They're really cool, but it's the difference of having silver foil and blue foil on the card that I feel like, I don't know, just it doesn't change enough. Whereas like in Flawless, the entire design is simple and the foil is everything you catch your eyes on. Whereas these cards have a ton going on and the foil kind of blends in one way or the other. Like the Flawless cards and some of the other stuff that came out in 2000s to now, the foil really is differentiate, like is a big differentiator between each variation. Whereas I don't feel
Yeah.
the same way about those.
I mean, there's so much foil on Flawless, especially in the later years, that definitely makes a bigger difference. I kind of feel the same. I mean, and Panini had some of those too in the. I'm thinking of the Chronicle sets. Like some of the Panini Chronicle sets, the one of one is literally just the name of the player written in platinum foil, which I mean, it does look great, and it depends how big of a feature the name is on the card, design wise and whatever. But I agree. I think that's probably why for me, Purple Masterpiece is lower than the Superfractor. I actually feel like I tend to like colors more. So I would actually tend to potentially prefer the Purple Masterpiece, but the fact that it's so little of the card, I think, is part of what does it for me. I think it may be a good time to because it's a crazy one put in this question. So he's here. So let's talk about it. What about printing plates? I like collecting them on my players because they can be super cheap. What are your thoughts on printing plates?
I personally don't really buy printing plates very often. I have some. Generally, they have to have something more than just being the printing plate that catches my attention. So, like they're autographed, or they have a patch, or something like that. Now, there's times where, like I said before, my player collection that I've had the most focus on will be Ken Anderson from the Bengals. I've bought plates of him when they're readily available, but at the same time, usually they have to have something more, and I do usually focus on the black plates versus the rest because I feel like they have more of the card detail than a lot of the other colors that kind of just look like a blob.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I am totally with the crazy one. I love printing plates because exactly what he said. There's only one, and I mean, I guess this goes to one of the points we're gonna, one of the takes that I'm gonna share from someone later, which is, is there only one? If there's like multiples of it, whatever. I don't know. You argue, like you can argue one way or the other. I'm looking for another printing plate that I have, but I love
one out. But again, it adds something more than the card. It's not just the printing plate; it's the autograph with it. Now it's a sticker, but I don't
Right.
know, it works because it's more the printing plate, just having a little extra added to it.
Yeah, and that's the tough part is that a lot of the I don't get why a lot of the printing plate autos are stickers. It's just one, just send it and let them sign it on card.
That's fair.
But yeah, I have this Haas printing plate, magenta 101, and then I actually do have an on card plate 101. It's this Justin Jackson from Contenders. I agree with you. I think printing plates look really good when you can actually see like the card design in it. It's really cool. I think it makes it look more than just like a random. Oh, here's the one I was missing. This is a Jason Thompson 0910 Topps yellow.
Yeah.
So Darren says printing plates are about 90% of what he's missing for his player PC because he avoided them at first and they've dried up. Wow, he finds one a year if he's lucky. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. Oh, sorry, this is the question. Yeah, I could definitely see that being an issue. And that's where it goes back to like, you got to be really careful about if you pass up on a 101 because who knows if you'll see it again. But yeah, good luck, Darren. I hope you can pick them up. Yeah, I love plates. I mean, the fact you can get a printing plate for $10, a 101 for 10. I mean, any one of one I come across that's $10, I'm gonna get it. Like, I don't care, right? I don't care what it looks like. This is actually what happened with that card that I posted a couple months ago. I found this Marcus Thornton 101 from 2010-11 limited. It's a sticker auto, whatever. It was a $10 101. I found at my LCS, and hopefully, eventually. I mean, I'm not super eager to move it because he was a king at some point too, but hopefully, I'll find a Marcus Thornton collector or someone that will appreciate it more than me that I can give it to. But yeah, any 101 like a plate, I think that's a worthy pickup.
Yeah.
But again, I know pickups are very plates, are very polarizing. Some people hate them. That's why they're so cheap. But
yeah, I think they were really cool when they first came out, but they've gotten to the point where there's just so many out there that it kind of, I don't know, the market's polluted a little bit with printing plates over everything else. Like I hate when I have like a one of one eBay save search for something specific and it ends up being the plate version or something. I'm like,
yeah. And there was like a bunch of years of NT, was it, where every box had a printing plate, right?
Yeah. I think even the newest version of it did it as well. But yeah, there were years off and on where you would get one in every box or a couple in every box. I even remember back in 06 or 07, they released a football card product where it was just plates. I remember buying a couple boxes of it, and it was just like the most no-name players plates and like sticker auto plates, base plates, and it's like
dumping them out on you.
Like, why did I buy these? Like, it was a cool idea at the time. I'm like, oh, you get 5 one-of-ones? This is insane for like $100, and it was not worth anything.
Yeah, well, it could have been. I mean, who knows? It could have just so happened that now, 15 years later, those plates could have been $100 each or whatever. But
yeah,
doesn't always work out that way. And that actually segues into the last question or take, I guess, that we got. And this is from I Collect Cards PH on Instagram. He said, hot take: if there are multiple 101 parallels, it's not a true 101. Definitely white and black box are not. So couple things in there. And that's kind of how plates are, right? I mean, would you consider the different colors of plates, having 5 different plates for one card being multiple parallels, thus not a true 101? I don't know if that fits, but it definitely feels like it's along that line.
Yeah, I think plates are one-of-ones, but I put them in a different category than like the actual cards, if that makes sense. Like they're not one-of-ones because there's different versions. The same way, in my opinion, a Nebula and a Black can both be one-of-ones in the same set. But I will say I wholeheartedly agree and hate white box, black box one-of-ones.
I hate them too. It's just so fabricated, right?
Oh, there's nothing that grinds my gears more is when somebody has one of those. And the worst part is when it's like the platinum parallel already, and you can't tell just from first glance. You're like, oh, that's pretty nice. And you start actually like that's the card, and then you flip it over and you see a sticker, and I'm like, oh, I hate you. I hate Panini. I hate the card. Everything about it is just hatred. Like there's nothing I dislike more than those, and people always want so much money for them. I would take the out of 25 version of a card over the one of one, white box, black box every time.
That's what always boggles my mind is how are like white box 1-of-1s selling for, I don't know, hundreds of dollars. I mean, there's just no appeal of that to me. I agree with you. I would definitely take an out of 25, and I'm surprised. because I actually included a white box 101 on our little thumbnail that I put up on Instagram and on YouTube. So it's the Luca here in this in the top left of this thumbnail, and I was waiting for someone to like do what they did before, which is like, that's not a 101. What are you talking about? And it's maybe not obvious that it's a white box 101. But
I didn't notice that. But yeah, they're so hard to tell sometimes.
Because it's just
that one there. That I look at it closer, it does look like a bronze parallel or something.
It's like a bronze parallel that I guess was stamped on the back, white box or black box. But that for sure. I did that kind of facetiously, as I did with the Maxi. I didn't get any comments on that. I thought maybe someone would comment on what's wrong with you putting this gold prism select 1 of 1 or select out of 10 as a 101. Do you have any idea why I put that? How that could potentially, how I could spin that as a 101?
Pop 1.
Yeah, it's a Gem Mint 10 Pop 1. So I found it funny because I was on Facebook just looking for pictures of 101s to include. And in a post of somebody searching for 101s, somebody posted this and they said, yeah, Gem Mint 10 Pop 1. I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? That is not a 101 card.
To add to like the rant in terms of like the white box 101s, one of my, I don't know, biggest pet peeves is when people have like let's just say a random card like that Gallatin Wanzer dual autograph. They send this to PSA, it gets a 6. It's a Pop 1 of 1 eBay listing tomorrow. Well, it's a 6. Nobody else was just an idiot and sent it to PSA. There's 25 more of them, and there's a very good chance all of them or a vast majority of them are a 6 or better. Like that kind of stuff just irks me to no end, and they want to ask a premium for it because it's in PSA's case. Like it's just so stupid.
Yeah, I know. It's just so funny what people how people spin things. It's I guess it's when they're trying to sell it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I owned that Maxi. If I would say, hey, this is my 1 of 1 Gem Mint Pop 10, whatever. Or sorry, Pop 1.
Yeah,
but anyway, so oh nice. So the crazy one talking about plates said he has an on-card noir auto rainbow of Jock Landale. I don't know how to pronounce it. And they put out the printing plates in 24-25. So he got all of those. He got the rainbow and all the plates. So congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And then that's all the questions and opinions that people shared. But there were a lot of opinions about kind of just like, what do people feel about adding 1 of 1? So I'm just going to run through those really quick. Frank, who's been on here before, Frank AZHP Collectibles, says he gets 1 of 1s when they're affordable, but it's not often enough. I'm totally with you. Most of the 1 of 1s I even own are because they were stupid cheap. Mostly Badger cards, I think probably disagreed with a lot of what we said. And he says it's the ultimate goal. Kevin M. Cormier says, I enjoy the ones I enjoy and refuse to let the loudest voices tell me which ones are better. Probably similar to a lot of what we were saying. Frankie 3500 says they're the biggest part of his PC other than MJ's, so I guess you must love them. Q's Cardboard Aaron, who's been on here, says they're out of his price range. To answer the question about high-end cards, and he's talking $50 cards. He'd rather have 20 $50 cards than one $1,000 card.
It's for me, that's very situational. I mean, there's tons of incredible $50 cards and absolute crappy $1,000 cards. So I mean, there's definitely situations where I would agree wholeheartedly, and there's other times where I could see the value in the 1,000. It just depends.
Yeah, totally. 2-2. So 2 TWO, and then the number 2 sports card says, I'll pick up one of my favorite player if the multiplier isn't too crazy when compared to out of 5 or out of 10s. I think that's pretty similar to what we said. And Gray Street, this is the last one, Gray Street Sports Card says, at the moment, he has none so far until Larry Johnson of McNeese State declares for the NBA. I didn't even know there was a Larry Johnson, another Larry Johnson, second version of Larry Johnson. Yeah, very cool. I don't know if there's anything else. That's all that we got from social media. Is there anything that you feel like we haven't covered? Any cards you want to share? Any types of 101s you feel like maybe we deserve a mention?
I pulled out a few different things. Let me see what I have here.
Yeah.
The one we talk about superfractors. This isn't like the traditional superfractor, but it is a card I like a lot.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it has the superfractor approach to it, but it still has a jumbo Letterman patch, 1 of 1.
That's a game used, right? Letterman
patch?
It
is, yeah. And what's believed to be game worn in the NBA Finals the year he won the MVP.
Oh, dang. I did not know that. That is
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
it's a pretty cool card. Like that's an example of a card that I didn't necessarily have to have the W, but that was one I really wanted for a while. So like that's something I would have chased down.
Yeah, that's
So,
really cool.
so I was trying to grab a couple of things that were from like each company. So like there was a Tops option. I know I've shared this card before, but it's literally one of my favorites. Like a UD
Oh, yeah.
Black.
I mean, the Jones Russell UD Black Platinum foil. That Platinum foil is just so vibrant, too.
I agree. There's something special about that card. I've probably shared it more than any card ever in my collection. But then like from this is just another example. I got this card back in the day for like pennies compared to what I'm sure it's worth today. Like this is an example of where like the foil is awesome, but the patches suck. So like
Yeah.
this would be a card where if it wasn't bought back in the day for pennies on the dollar by today's comparison, I would never chase this card for several $100,000, whatever it may be worth.
Yeah.
Just because it's not special enough, but it was something it made sense at the time. I was going to pull out a couple. Like we talked about the flawless difference of foils and things like that too. Like platinum foil on this set last year or the year before has a lot of like blue, kind of that UD Black hollow foil. It may not pick up in the photo. I can't tell. Versus like the earlier years, some of them are just kind of like a silvery, very similar to like an out of 15 or out of 25
Okay.
foil.
Yeah.
So like there's even like little differences within the years of flawless on some of those. Let's see if there's anything else here.
Either way, I would not. Those are some, regardless of the exact quality of the foil. Flawless 101 is awesome that you have of some Hall of Famers.
And then like we talked about, I think these briefly, but like nebulas, I do think those look really good.
Right. That's the one I was surprised we didn't really hear about. So you're showing the Spectra Illustrious Legends Mikhail Nebula. But
it's hard to pick up some of the color on it. But I think those, like out of all the variations, I think those look better than blacks or any of the others that we discussed.
Yeah, I was surprised that no one mentioned nebulas. I think they're like really popular. I think.
I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily as popular as blacks to the mainstream market, but I think they look better.
Okay. I think they look better. I guess I can show this one. This is a Darren Collison, pretty washed out. It's a Nebula Spectacular Swatches. That was one that I was going to show. And this is a case where you can see that patch is really cool too. So
yeah, that's an awesome card. I bet you that looks really good with the purple from the Kings too.
Yeah, it does. I know. And that was
like
like
an example of like the value makes sense. I'm sure that card's not crazy money. It matches the color of the team. It has some great shine to it. Like perfect storm of what we're talking about, where that card makes sense to buy, whereas maybe the Tyrese Halliburton of that card doesn't.
Right. Exactly. No, I agree. And that's what's great about a team collector. Like I can take the Darren Collison and the Tyrese Halliburton someone can have for his $1,000, you know?
And I had one more I pulled out here. This was, I just think this set in particular I really like, but you look at most of the set, like they have a base version where it's completely just a jersey card. Like I don't believe he has another stitch patch in any other variation of this card but the 1/1. So I already like the design of these. And I like the retro set almost every year, but it makes sense for me to buy the 1/1 in this case because it's completely different than the rest because the patch is so much better. That makes sense.
And that one, and I don't know what the base version looks like or whatever, but I like that there's red all over it because NT is usually such a white background with some foil on it. So it's really cool that that's different. I think that makes it much more appealing in my opinion.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It has kind of that team color, but like that's like what the regular version would look like.
Okay, cool. Oh,
like
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Just kind of based looking jersey card, which is fine, but that's not really what I would be after. So like the difference is enough there where that you get the pop of the hollow foil and you get the nice chunky patch.
Yeah, good on them.
I would pay the premium for that.
Nice. All right. I have a couple that I think are just interesting enough for one reason or another.
Sure.
I don't know. This is an Isaiah Thomas one. It's from Gold Standard. It's a black, I think. I don't actually know that much about it, but like I think it's different than a typical black. I don't know. I should know more about the card, but I just think it's unique because it's not, it blacks out the whole card except for the player and the name and stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it was a interesting way of showing a black. Another black, which I think goes to, you were talking about the overall appeal. I think I bought this before I knew that Ben McLemore was a terrible person, like rapist, whatever. I bought this totally certified black 101 patch. And
I
then,
love that set.
yeah, it's great. I love it. And it's his rookie patch or whatever. And then for like $10 or $20 more, I think I lost the flawless out of 25. I think it was like out of 25 or maybe 15, but he was a rookie in 14-15. So oh, sorry, 13-14. So it was a much better card, game worn jersey. And I'm like, I should have, now in retrospect, I'm like, ugh, I should have paid an extra $20 more than that card and just gotten that game worn jersey with the flawless and the nicer patch, big window, whatever. I guess in retrospect, I'm glad I don't have another Ben McLemore rookie patch, but
But I think to that point, that's what we've kind of hinted on the whole time is it's not always the one of one that makes the most sense.
yeah,
Having it be game used to me would be a no brainer beyond anything else. But then you add in the fact
Totally.
that maybe it's a better design, maybe it's got a bigger patch, something else added to it on top of it. It's like, oh, by a landslide, I would take a card number 25 versus the one of one. I still like Totally Certified. I like the black kind of design on that with the silver pop and everything. There's certain things that are kind of more valuable to me than the numbered rarity of it. And game used is one, on card autograph would be one. Things like that would be more of a appeal to me than just chasing one of ones. And there are some people that do that. I see people on Facebook and things all the time where they're just looking for one of ones. It's like,
yeah,
there's no rhyme or reason, set specifics, nothing, just looking to buy one of ones of Hall of Famers. It's like, well, there's some really doozy one of ones out there that you're interested in for just the reason of it being stamped one of one.
right.
And then there's awesome cards that you probably would be after too, but like there has to be more rhyme or reason for me than just having a stamp on it.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think sometimes I personally find myself a victim of, or guilty of like losing sight of that because you get caught up in the one of one, maybe like you said, you did with the Sam Jones, but yeah, totally. Another one that's really cool that we hadn't mentioned is the Status Kaleidoscope ones. So this is 17-18 Status Justin Jackson. It's the Kaleidoscope. I really need to take it out of this BGS slab.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like it has a cool effect that I can't tell at all through the plastic prism.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not focusing either, but probably because I'm there. But
it looks really cool though, from what I can see. I've never seen one of those.
I can't get it to focus. Oh, there you go. I guess you can get it to focus a little farther out. You can see that.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
I'm just so scared of commitment. Like once you break it, you can't unbreak it, and I don't even like it. Like I hate graded cards. I never buy graded cards. It was just because it was a 1-1. That's why I bought it. Yeah, I got to get that out. I know the crazy one says I need to free the card. I need to free the card. Okay, that's my job for the next week is to free that card.
No, I mean, to be fair, there's definitely cards I have that have enough grade premium that I wouldn't crack them. But I think in the case of that card being a 1-of-1, no one's going to want that card because it's right. Nobody's going to want that card any more or less because of the grade at any point. Right. Nobody's going to be like, oh, because it's a 9.5, I'm interested. It's like, well, you either wanted it or you didn't, kind of thing. And I think that's what it comes down to me. Like, I hate graded cards too, but there's certain ones where it's like, okay, if I could find somebody to trade me out of it for one raw, that makes sense. But like giving up the value by cracking it just is too much. If it's marginal dollars, who cares? But some cards are just insane grade premiums.
I know. And the last one to circle things back around to the beginning, I mentioned that DeMarcus Cousins card I found on Card Hobby. This is the 1-of-1 that I have for the rainbow,
nice.
Which is
that's another awesome card. What is that? You. That's his rookie year 1-of-1, right?
Yes, it's his rookie year. Totally certified. Just certified.
I'm stupid. The cutout says rookie, and I'm asking you if it's his rookie.
Yeah, it's his 1-of-1 certified. Yeah, the cutout says rookie.
I didn't see it first, but after I asked the question, I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. But that's an awesome card. I like that a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think the only one I'm missing now is the green out of 5. So
that's a perfect example. Like that one might be harder to find now, just because 5 is still unbelievably rare. So it's not like they're easy to find.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a crazy one that says it's amazing how many people prefer a 1-of-1 card that's been graded, and how many people ask, should I grade this 1-of-1? It's insane.
Every day you see it on Facebook.
Yeah,
totally. There's no I don't get it. Like I get it in the sense that people want it to be special amongst all 1-of-1s when there's so many of them.
Right.
But if you're actually a collector, you want the one of one or you don't want the one of one. It's a set you care about, or it's a set you don't care about. Whether it's a 10, a 9, an 8, or authentic, it doesn't matter. That's how I view it anyway. I would never pay a 10 premium for anything, so I'm probably a bad example, but it just it drives me nuts.
But I'm sure those who are trying to grade one of ones are not doing it because they want to keep them, right? Most likely,
majority for sure. Like there's some people for sure that are just PSA fanboys, and everything in their collection's in a PSA case, so they're going to send it in just for them to stamp authentic on it, like there were any doubts they had prior, and they're satisfied. But I do think there are other people though that are just so, like we talked about before, sheepish in the sense that they want the one of one because everybody tells them that's what they need, and they need the PSA 10 because that's what's all the hype's about. So like back to your last week episode of the hype train kind of coming into the station. Imagine a one of one and a PSA 10, perfect collision of everything.
Yeah, can't talk. Tell me more. I know everyone's gonna want more of that. The last thing, the crazy one mentioned, he looks out for one-on-one cards at card shows in Sydney and try to help other player collectors obtain them, and had a few successes. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really. I think there needs to be more of that. I mean, it's like I think I think I mentioned before, like everything becomes about money, and I don't know. I mean, I guess it's totally within the crazy one's right to try to get as much money out of a player collector that when he finds a card. I mean, it's like I found that Marcus Thornton card for $10. Could there be a Marcus Thornton collector who is saying, man, I need that card because it's 101 and I'm super collecting Marcus Thornton? Sure. Could I potentially sell it to them for $100? Yeah, but it's like you don't have to do that. I don't know. I guess he didn't mention the cost, but it's like you don't have to. And I guess it depends what he bought it for at the show. I mean, he might find it for $100, and obviously you'd want to not necessarily. That's a lot of money to be just giving cards away or selling them cheap. But anyway, I'm just going off. But
I get what you're saying. But it is kind of funny that he would tell you to crack yours, but is never going to crack his. One PSA 10.
Yeah, it's Prism Nebula. Yeah, that is very funny. Well, let's make a pact. We'll do this together. We'll crack them together. No, just kidding. Don't feel any pressure. I really want to crack that kaleidoscope. You do not have to crack yours. Yeah. I mean, like it makes sense to. I don't know. It's obviously like everyone's personal thing, and I'm not trying to throw judgment on anyone that charges what a card's worth or whatever one someone's willing to pay. So if you ask more, that's totally within your right. They don't have to buy it if they don't want it, for sure.
Right. I mean, we're getting kind of sidetracked from the topic, but for me, it comes down to like I would have no problem paying someone profit on something. You tell me you bought it for $100 and you want me to pay $200. If it's within the realm of reason, I have no problem in the world to pay you $200. Even if it was you paid $1 and I paid $500. If it's reasonable, I have no problem with it. The problem I run into is when people find something that you want that probably no one else does for $5 and maybe it's worth $50. They keep leveraging you for $200. That's where it's like, I want it, so you're trying to get me to just get milk dry over here. Like, can you be a little more reasonable? Like, I'm sure you found this at a show, and if you bought it, it had to have been dollars. Let me pay you a reasonable amount of money profit. That's where I try to limit myself from being so focused on having to have like a one-of-one to kind of bring it back into focus. That I can find myself in the position of being so over leveraged that person knows they can just rake me over the coals just because of my desperation.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if any of you know, or if I happen to have a card that anyone needs or wants, that you can take advantage of me. So just keep that in mind.
I will take your patch booklet set. Thank you. I'll send you a self-addressed stamped envelope.
It has to be something that's not PC for me. Sorry. Okay, the crazy one says he had a finder's fee one time, and that was nice. Congratulations. All right. Steve is already going to give us a big talking to because he's probably going crazy right now that this is the longest we've ever gone. So we probably should call it here unless there's anything else you want to say.
I think we're good. I need to keep Steve from going off the deep end.
Yeah, more than he already does.
You're probably not in the chats to see him go absolutely insane after the Celtics lost a night or two ago. So he doesn't need anything else to add to it.
Okay, perfect. Well, for Steve's sanity, we're going to call it a night and a week. Hope you guys enjoyed our one-of-one conversation. If you have any one-on-ones, please share. Tag Hoops Hobby Hangout. We'll keep the conversation going. The hangout doesn't have to stop here. Have a great week. We'll see you all next Thursday.
See you guys.